now in pole position effectively, with to the right in the red Ferrari Gerhard Berger, and behind Schumacher is Damon Hill, and into the pits has come up to take their position on the 23 car grid. Schumacher cutting off Gerhard Berger, Alesi trying to sprint through, but Schumacher, Alesi and Berger go into the Renifilio together. Now, are they all going to get through? They're all through so far. Somebody nearly off, but as we move round with the leaders, it looked to me as though everybody got round except, of course, the unfortunate David Coulthard. Maybe it was the stress of the occasion that got to the Scotsman, but whatever, his chances of winning have been severely diminished because he's coming out from the pit lane eventually to start right behind the rest of the field. And Schumacher leads. Ferrari, Johnny Herbert is up into fourth position ahead of Damon Hill, and it is Gerhard Berger who is second. It's Jean Alesi who is third, and this has been the opportunity of a lifetime for Michael Schumacher, who must be sitting there hardly believing his luck that David Coulthard, who has dominated the Monza meeting so far with fastest time on Friday and then a repeat to give him pole position for the start of the race, didn't even start it. And David Coulthard is the first retirement of the Italian Grand Prix. He is out of the race. And now the and that is on Montemini out in the Pacific. So that's two retirements, and there is it's Bouillon. And behind Bouillon is one of the Arrows cars. It looked like Max Papis to me. So that's four cars missing at the end of the first lap. And into the lead goes the Ferrari. Gerhard Berger has gone into the lead in the Ferrari ahead of Michael Schumacher, and they're going to have to stop the race. The red flag is out. The Italian Grand Prix is being stopped. Now, this is a good thing for David Coulthard in the second Scarlet Ferrari. Behind Damon Hill is Rubens Barrichello, and Lavargi at the back in the Pacific comes up to his position. The race is almost go. Schumacher, who comes up to the Renifilio, and Berger has got ahead of Schumacher. So Coulthard leads. Berger's got ahead of Schumacher in the Benetton, who got Damon Hill right behind him. And heavens, they've all got through the Renifilio, and Coulthard has already built a gap. He's settled down absolutely magnificently. David Coulthard in the Williams Renault leads. Gerhard Berger in the Ferrari. Michael Schumacher in the Benetton. Damon Hill is fourth. Herbert is in fifth position. Jean Alesi in the second Ferrari has been passed by Herbert, and Berger is going for the lead. He knows now that if he pressures David Coulthard, this will be the Scotsman's weakest time during the race before he fully settles down, but he seems to have done that already. Coming out of the Lesmo bends up to the Ascari chicane. It's a bit of a climb here, and it's turning left, right, left. Coulthard, Berger, Schumacher, Hill, Herbert out of the chicane. Now it's up to the parabolica. The long 180-degree right-hander. We're riding with Gerhard Berger in second position, and that is Coulthard's Williams Renault in front of us as they go into the parabolica. Slowing from 190 to 100 miles an hour. Jean Alesi in the Ferrari. And it's going to be across the line at the end of the first lap. Coulthard, Berger, Schumacher, Berger having a look. Coulthard will have nothing of it. He's well and truly in the groove now. Schumacher is third. Hill is right behind him. There's a gap between Damon Hill, and that's Jean Alesi, who is in fifth position, followed by Johnny Herbert. The first four are easing away. This is the Roja. Up to to the first Lesmo and the second Lesmo, and the drivers are all saying, without exception, that
there is too much damage, as we suspected. Martin Brundle is sadly out of the Italian Grand Prix. And David Coulthard spins off there. David Coulthard's done it again.
Now, can he keep going? That's the important thing. These gravel traps are supposed to stop the cars altogether, but David Coulthard is amazingly finding traction. My goodness, he's going to be in a state, having done it not once, but twice, before the Italian Grand Prix and during the Italian Grand Prix. Now, the question is, at what point is he? Here's a replay as Coulthard loses the back of the car. It spins round, does a...
by Williams and Benetton, Williams and Ferrari. And the reason that Benetton can do that is because they do have a larger fuel tank capacity. The Williams fuel tank will only hold just over 110 litres, and that's half a tank of fuel. Benetton, though, can go a bit longer.
And you were riding with Damon Hill, and you saw the Benetton of Michael Schumacher in front. It's still tremendously close. Only 5 seconds cover the first 4 on lap 19 out of 53. There's the leader. Now, I apologise, that's Sean Alesi coming through, having passed and lapped Uko Katayama. There was the leader. Here is Schumacher. There is Damon Hill. And now Gerhard Berger is closing up on the other Tyrrell, that of Mika Salo, who is in the 16th place. It's Mika's first race at Monza. But Schumacher and Hill are now up with Taki Inoue and past his arrows. That shows you the speed differential between a top car and one of the lesser ones. And Hill hits Schumacher. They both go off. They both go off. This is a repetition of Silverstone. Amazing. Taki Inoue, I don't know whether he got in the way, but Hill attacked, saw his opportunity. Schumacher running up to the Williams. Now, is he going to have words with Damon Hill? And the crowd is going wild with delight because they know now that Alesi is second. Damon Hill in the car and Schumacher shaking his head in disbelief. Now, it's so easy to arrive at a split-second point of view, but here's a replay now. Look, there is Inoue. Schumacher turns in, and Hill, who was passing Inoue, is right behind the Benetton, clips its left rear wheel, and there's going to be a big discussion about this as a disgusted, angry Michael Schumacher walks back with Damon Hill, and the crowd are delighted.
Well, fundamentally, that was a mistake from Damon Hill. I think he underestimated where Michael Schumacher...
I may have misread the situation, but whatever. Alesi is up into second place. There is Hill's car being removed from the track, and into the pits comes race leader Gerhard Berger. So now Jean Alesi will go up into the lead. Jean Alesi then leads the Italian Grand Prix as Gerhard Berger on lap 25 makes what is obviously going to be his sole tyre and refuelling stop. And you can see by the time it took 15 seconds that a lot of fuel has gone in, and that means obviously that he's got the remaining full race distance to go. Rubens Barrichello has gone up into second place. Up into third has gone Häkkinen. Up into fourth has gone Johnny Herbert in the sole now remaining Benetton. Hill and Schumacher and Coulthard all out of the race, and the points gap between Michael Schumacher and Damon Hill therefore remains at 15 points between them, but now with 5 races for Damon Hill to do something about it, whereas he's on the 27th lap and they're peeling off. There's going to be a lot of tar for refuelling stops now. The situation is going to be very confusing for a while, and that is Eddie Irvine on a replay moving ahead of Gerhard Berger after the Austrian
would do, and that's stay out. Herbert has not made his pit stop, and there he does. Herbert now coming in, but also I can tell you that Mika Häkkinen did indeed get ahead of Rubens Barrichello on their round of stops. So Häkkinen now in 4th place, which will in fact be 3rd with Herbert in the pits.
Now you're watching Johnny Herbert, I'm watching the track just in front of Herbert to see the Ferrari of Jean Alesi go past into the lead, and it's going to be Johnny Herbert exiting the pit lane, and it's going to be a very close thing indeed. The Ferraris, both of them, there they are. Jean Alesi and Gerhard Berger are 1st and 2nd at Monza on lap 31 as ex-leader Johnny Herbert rejoins the track. It's going to be very close indeed. Mika Häkkinen is right with them. Rubens Barrichello is there. Now, in 1988, just after the death of the great Enzo Ferrari, Gerhard Berger gave the Maranello team, the great Maranello team, who have won more pole positions and more races than any other Formula One constructor, a magnificent win to lift the spirits of Italy. And his teammate was in second position, and now we're getting a replay of this. And as I say, the Tifosi here, who are fanatically pro-Ferrari, nothing else matters in the world except that Ferrari can do well, are holding their breath. We're on lap 31. It's a 53-lap race. Both Alesi and Berger have made what we believe will be their only tyre and refuelling stop. You can see how they will be, but everybody's going to be very circumspect about doing anything in a situation where Ferraris are first and second at Monza. Johnny Herbert is 9 seconds behind Alesi in third position and 5 seconds ahead of Häkkinen, who is in fourth place. Barrichello, and there is the Ferrari, and that is Gerhard Berger. What an incredible race this is. It's certainly not going to be a Ferrari first and second, because Berger is out of the race. So we've had race leader David Coulthard retire. We've had now ex-race leader Gerhard Berger retire, and that's his last Italian Grand Prix for Monza. Here is a replay, and he did it all by himself at the back there. What happened, whether a suspension unit broke, whether one of the elements in the suspension broke, or whether it was a puncture, I don't know, but Berger is most definitely out.
Well, it looked like a front track rod failure, in fact, because we could see that left front wheel flapping, turning left and right by itself. The tyre looked to be intact. And that's a pretty unusual sort of failure. Again, we didn't see him touch anybody. That could be one reason for that. But the other one, it could perhaps be a consequence of this grueling circuit with the damage that can be done building up by going over these curves. Now is Johnny's chance to do it.
But he's going to have to beat that man. You see Alesi? You can see visually the gap. That's Johnny Herbert. 7.5 seconds, and it's been that for the last 3 laps. Alesi is driving a very cool, careful and calculated race based on information that he's getting from his people in the pits by radio, and he knows if he can maintain that cushion with now only 10 laps, including the one that he's on, he's home for his second Grand Prix victory in his career, the second of the year, having won in Canada. Johnny Herbert still second, Häkkinen is still third, so we've got a Ferrari.
Pre-prescribed limits such as oil pressure or temperature. When that happens, the computer will shut the engine down to avoid a spectacular blow-up. So I suspect that both Irvine and Barrichello have succumbed to that. A great shame for the Jordan team, and we now have Häkkinen there 12 seconds behind Johnny Herbert, Frentzen 17 seconds behind Häkkinen, and Blundell 6 seconds behind Frentzen. Now Blundell really will have the bit between his teeth now. Frentzen is possibly within reach, but again he's going to have to pick up about half a second if he's going to have a chance of doing that. That's the refueling nozzle there from the Ferrari team, and this is interesting actually. Well, it looks like Alesi may well be in for another slug of fuel, and that could completely change the situation if indeed that's the case.
Now, drivers tend to feel things at this stage of the race, and commentators tend to see things. I thought I saw a puff of smoke from the back of Alesi's car, which might have meant that he got a problem. I'm not saying he has got one, I'm just saying I thought I saw something. But it's strange that the mechanics are refueling him at this stage of the race. He's been in for what we thought was going to be his only tyre and fuel stop, so keep an eye very carefully on Jean Alesi on lap 46 out of 53.
Now, one thing we do know is that looking again at that Ferrari, but we know that the Ferrari engine, that V12, has high fuel consumption. We also, and it's flames out of the back. There is indeed a problem with the Ferrari there of Jean Alesi.
Yeah, Alesi is going to be retiring, and Johnny Herbert is going to be coming up to take the lead in this astounding race. I thought Alesi was going slower. He looked to me as though he was, and there is Herbert in the back background. What an incredible race. Coulthard retires in the lead. Berger retires having led. Schumacher and Hill retire. Four of the top men. Now it looks as though fate is cruelly going to deny Jean Alesi victory in Italy for his last race for Ferrari. He's coming to the pits. And Johnny Herbert will be taking the lead of the Italian Grand Prix, and Johnny Herbert goes through and is leading, and he's now on his 47th lap in this 53-lap race as Alesi struggles with whatever the problem is in the pits, and now he's fighting for second position.
And I wonder if in fact the problem might have been a brake. The brakes have been getting very hot at this race, particularly on a one-stop strategy. They've been looking at that right rear wheel, and if that brake disc had caught a light, it's a retirement. My guess is that it's a retirement due to a brake problem there. It looks like the smoke coming from that wheel, and with the high speeds of these cars in a straight line, they're as fast as they were last year, and indeed with running a one-stop strategy, which means the car will be heavier, there is greater load on the brakes, and it looks like the brakes on that Ferrari have caught fire. That's what we saw, and I'm afraid the damage is too much for Alesi to continue. The second Grand Prix in a row at Italy, at Monza, that Jean Alesi has led in front of the Ferrari home crowd and has had to retire from. He must be absolutely distraught. Jean Todt there, the technical director, consoling Alesi, but I should think he is virtually inconsolable. Poor Jean Alesi.
Well, you can see from his body language how he feels. Nothing worse could possibly have happened to him.